In our last video, we looked at some rules and the different phases they are set up in. In this video, we'll talk about rule inputs and outputs. What makes games unique as compared to other forms of entertainment, like a movie or a comic book, is that they are highly interactive. And what makes a great game is having the right mix of elements to make the interactivity fun and addicting. And this is what is called good player experience. Experience is the key objective that drives the design and quality of a system, software, or video game. To determine if a game design is good or not, it must be played. And playing means you will interact with the game. And the interactivity is what creates the experience. Let's run through that again. To initialize a player's interaction with the game, the player gives something called input. It could be giving commands for a player's character in the game to move, make a decision, or grab an object. The input is taken like a value for a condition expression, which then calls a property expression. The result of that whole process is called output. This output is then made known to the player, often made visible for the player to see. It could be an additional 10 points on the scoreboard, or even a -1 heart on the player's health bar. This output is called feedback. And feedback gets absorbed by the player, telling him if what he did in the game was good or bad. From this feedback, the player then learns more about the rules of the game, how to play the game, how to get better at it, and eventually win at the game. Now at this time, you're probably asking, FPS is not a game to play, so how can you talk of winning at it? The game phenomenon we're utilizing here is not about scoring and winning. It is the interaction part along with the player learning from output feedback. The essential principles of FPS design touch a lot of ideals of a gamified system, the main one being interactivity. Before we take a look back in FPS, you need to understand that players who interact with FPS may not be just the customers that you know. Other than the customer, you have the carriers who send in thousands of freight bill transactions that become input to FPS. And remember how them changing even one data value on their freight bill transactions can create some profound impacts downstream, whether if they are good or bad impacts. Next, you have tracks personnel that also give input, often similar to what the customer is doing. Loading of audit policy review templates with audit responses to exceptions. Plus, you have some tracks personnel that input batches into process and posting queues and handle recycles. And the last person that interacts with FPS is FPS itself. That's right. One thing about FPS is that it is a system designed to operate itself. There are a lot of processes happening in FPS that only FPS handles, and a large quantity of freight bill transactions that don't require human input. We even have some customer environments that hardly have any human interaction at all. In our next video, we go over how FPS rules go to work.